Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Ramos Law Difference Makers podcast, where I, your host, Dr. Jim Hoven, get the chance to meet with cool people doing cool things. And today absolutely falls in that category. Today, I am visiting with someone who does something that I love so much, which is live recreation. I love recreation. This is so cool. We're going to talk about rec centers, what they do in the community, all about the life of a rec center person. This is going to be great. So you're going to want to take some notes here. You're going to see some cool things, and then you're going to want to go train or get involved in a community event. So without further ado, I want to welcome my guest today, Miss Katie Groke. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's going to be fun because what you do is fun.
Yes, we have the best jobs.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell me about how you get into being a rec center, like what you do with the community advisor and being all this position that you have. Where did that come from in you?
Well, for me personally, I took a very non-traditional route to Parks and Recreation. I've been with Apex now for almost 7 years, and I have a background in nonprofit advocacy and politics, actually, which is completely random.
Okay, we got to talk about that. Hold on. So advocacy and politics. So did you grow up in a family that was like that, and so it was kind of that's what you guys did, or because that's an interesting combination?
Yeah, my parents were always very involved. My dad was always really involved with the community. I'm a Colorado native, born and raised in Arvada, and I live there now. And I think we're fourth. I think me and my cousins are the fourth or fifth generation Colorado natives, which is really cool. But so my parents were always involved. My mom was a teacher. But just as I grew up, I don't know what it was. I just had the bug. I was senior class president at Arvada West High School. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
And I just had always played that role. So in college, I double majored in political science and women's studies at the University of Wyoming, where I also played soccer. So I was always an athlete. And I just caught the bug. I don't know. I moved to Washington, D.C. after college, after I graduated. And
you were going for it.
Yeah.
You went to the hub, the belly of the beast.
Yep. I have to say, I can't say enough wonderful things about the University of Wyoming, which I know this is not what the podcast is about, but they offer a great internship in Washington to just get started. So they were super flexible on how I went about that with soccer and everything. So it's how I got my career. It's how I started. So I got an internship at a nonprofit and ended up getting a job out of it. So I stayed. I packed up my Toyota Tercel and drove from Laramie to Washington, which was a bit of a culture shock, but it was fun.
Even being in the Tercel was a bit of a culture.
No air conditioning, no power, anything. It was a four-speed stick shift. I loved that car. And so, I worked for nonprofits for a few years in DC, and then got an opportunity to come back to Colorado and continue doing the work. So I used to work with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've trained women to run for office. I've done a lot of leadership development for women around issues, ballot issue campaigns.
Are you still politically, do you have the political fire in you to not necessarily serve as a politician, but in, making society better through politics? Is that something that's still a big part of your heart?
Yeah, I sit on a couple of boards. I sit on some board of directors still. I volunteer for campaigns when I can. I've never wanted to run for office, which is not what I should say publicly, because everyone, if you are interested, should run, because everyday people is who we need to run for office. And it starts as low as not as low. It starts as local as a school board and city council. So I encourage everyone out there to run for office. It's doing the work that our community needs. But I've never had the desire to run for office. I love being behind the scenes. I love helping people with their campaign. I can write a campaign plan in my sleep. I can, teach you how to fundraise and how to market. I'll write any speech you need. I just don't want to have to be the one doing it.
Wow.
So I've helped my friends. I've volunteered for their campaigns. So it's just fun. It's fun to be in the background and behind the scenes. So yes, I still am very involved in my friends' campaigns and work that they're doing. I sit on the board of directors for an organization called Porchlight. They're amazing. They're doing great. It's a family advocacy center in Jefferson County.
What do they do?
They are a family advocacy center. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for anyone that needs services. So if you are experiencing domestic violence, if you're experiencing child abuse, sexual assault, anything, you can go there and they have everything that you need in one place. When often people who are victims of crimes, they are handed a packet that's like, if this is a family crime, you go here. And then if you need police services, you have to go here. If you need legal services, you have to go here. And it's very overwhelming to be a victim. But at Porchlight, you can come in and everything is right there for you. You stay in one place and all of the services come to you. So it's a huge partnership. It's a collaboration with multiple organizations that are doing, anything from, you name it. If it's a service that you need as a victim, it's there for you to help. So,
wow.
They're doing amazing work, and
That's
it's a
good.
newer organization, so it's been neat to be kind of on the front end of it.
Is there a connection there between? Here's what I know.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. If you want to have a true level of health, it starts internally. Mm-hmm. And if you want a truly healthy society or community, let's call it community, let's go smaller. It starts internally, right? Internal within the community instead of external in, and internal within the human being for health, internal out. And enough healthy beings in a community will make a healthier community.
Yes.
So with your work now at Apex, and we'll talk about Apex in a minute, is there a connection that you've been able to make between, hey, man, these people that need these services, they also need physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health as a foundation? Is that something that is drawing you to all of these different things?
Yeah, well, I have to say, I am just so fortunate. I grew up in an amazing family. I am very close with my cousins and my siblings or my sibling. And, my parents were amazing and they encouraged me to play soccer. And soccer really was the backbone of everything that I did. Those are my girls now, or teammates I've had my entire life.
Okay, when did you graduate high school?
I graduated Arvada West in 1999.
Okay, so
And
I was 85,
so
I'm way older than you.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And the reason I ask is I wanted to see if the name Randy Snyder rings a bell to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, uh-huh.
So Randy was my chiropractic business partner. Randy and I had 5 clinics together,
Oh,
Dr.
wow.
Randy Snyder.
Oh, very
in fact,
cool.
I just talked to him yesterday, and when you said you played soccer in Arvada, he's huge in Arvada soccer.
Yeah.
Through that whole thing. How
Oh,
cool.
that's
What
so
a great
cool.
connection.
Oh, that's neat. Small world. Soccer, if you play soccer or if you're from Arvada, it's like Kevin Bacon. It's like 5 degrees. My girlfriends from other states that went to Wyoming, they're like, now that everybody, like, they know if you live in Arvada, it's like 5 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. It's the same
or
thing. Like,
Scooby-Doo.
everybody knows someone who lived in Arvada at some point.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's so
see,
funny.
I love that. See, now we're even deeper connected. I'll tell Randy that I saw you.
Yeah, he probably know. My dad was really involved in like all the soccer in Arvada, like when I was a kid. He was like president of our club and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
that's beautiful. So,
but
anyway,
back to your original question.
So
so I'm a firm believer in, if we don't break the cycle, it will just continue to exist. So anytime that we can intervene, whether it be emotionally or physically or resources of any type to really break that cycle, people who are raised in households that aren't as fortunate as I am, or are part of an extended connection of people who have that cycle, unless we break it, it will just continue to happen. And the only way that we can break it is really intervention and offering resources and giving them a different path. Yes. And so I am a firm believer that Apex does play a role in that. It's a natural connection with my work around advocacy work that there's always this outlet. Like, if you need Apex, we're here for you. We do have a community access fund that's actually funded in part by sponsorships. So community businesses that want advertisement opportunities in our facilities, all of that revenue funds our community access fund. So we do have a scholarship program where folks who need help can come to Apex, and we can help you get involved in soccer. Or if you're rehabbing from an injury and insurance doesn't cover it, we can offer you a punch card to come in and do rehab and exercises to get back to your healthy self. So our mission statement is physical, emotional, and social. And we are here for the physical, emotional, and social well-being of our community. And we are firm believers that it's not just about coming and working out. It's about joining a class and meeting friends and getting to know your community, or, taking a yoga class to just take a break from your everyday chaos and like really centering yourself. And we offer, cooking classes or nutrition advice about maybe you just need to switch your path of eating or whatever that may be. And it's not always about physical, just working out and coming in and getting stronger. It's about the whole body.
So
and
good.
yeah, and making sure that is connected to our community. So how can we bring our community together to be healthier, both emotionally, physically, and socially?
And that is beautiful. And that's really where I want to take the conversation now, is to the role that folks like you play in the health of a community. I mean, it's been there basically 22 years, 23 years, right? But yet the entirety of, I'll let you explain kind of what Apex as a group is, but the Apex Center been there almost 23 years, which is a long time, going on a quarter century.
Yeah.
But the bigger group is 60 years.
Yeah.
Right? So can you just share a little bit about the history and the deep roots that you guys have in the community?
Yeah, so I'll kind of like go big and then whittle it down. So we are the Apex Park and Recreation District. We're mostly located in the city limits of the city of Arvada, and then we kind of spill over a little bit into unincorporated Jefferson County on the west side. So we have about 140 residents that live within the Apex district, and we provide parks and recreation amenities to our district. We are the servicer of that. I don't think so.
140?
140,000 residents live within the Apex district. So we have been around since the 50s. We were actually incorporated as a special district in the 50s because there was a drowning in the creek. And so I wasn't alive, but some citizens of our district banded together and decided that they needed a swimming pool. And so they created the district, and at the time it was the North Jeffco Park and Recreation District, and they built a pool.
So it started out of a tragedy.
It did. Yep.
Wow.
And it started out of the community coming together because of a tragedy, which is really neat. And so, and we actually, the pool existed until like just a little while ago, like probably 10 or 15 years ago is when Fisher Pool went away.
Really?
But they built a pool, and then it just grew because it was funded in part by property taxes. It just grew, and we now have 12 facilities. We changed, so our flagship facility is the Apex Center, and when the Apex Center was built in 2000, we changed the name of the district to the Apex Park and Recreation District from North Jeffco because it was really confusing. Mm-hmm. We traded one confusing thing for the other. It was too confusing for people to not understand that we weren't part of Jeffco, that we weren't part of the county. So we changed our name to Apex, and now people only think we're the Apex Center.
The Apex
and
Center,
they don't
right.
So we just traded one thing for the other, but that's okay. So we were the North Jeffco Park and Recreation District. Now we're Apex Park and Recreation District, and our flagship rec center is the Apex Center near 72nd and Ward. It's a huge, if you've never been there, you got to come by. It's a huge rec center. We have 2 sheets of ice, NHL, regulated ice arena. We have 3 swimming pools. We have a walking track. We have a huge fitness center and gym. We have a fitness room. We have meeting rooms. We have a rock wall. I'm going through the building.
Yes.
We have an indoor playground. We have a splash pad out back. And it's really cool. And it connects, speaking of community, our building actually connects to the city of Arvada's park system via the Ralston Creek Trail. So you can get on Ralston Creek Trail, ride your bike, take a jog, and you connect to actually a few of our buildings. You can come to the Apex Center. We have a tennis center that is off the Creek Trail as well. So we operate. So our flagship center is the Apex Center. We operate 12 other facilities, including Indian Tree Golf Course. We have the Apex Tennis Center, which is 4 indoor tennis courts and 12 outdoor tennis courts. Our Sim Street, I won't go through all of our facilities. Our Sim Street Recreation Center is a gym, 2 art rooms, a gymnastics gym, a dance studio, and that is the crown jewel. We were talking about it earlier. We have 24 outdoor pickleball courts at our Sim Street Recreation Center. I always say that if you want to do it, Apex offers it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you let us know what will make you happy and what you need, and Apex probably offers it.
So here's a funny thing. I remember growing up, for me, I grew up in a very middle-class home, mm-hmm. and there were a few rec centers that were around that time, and Apex was it hadn't been built yet. I remember when it got built, though. It was a big deal. So I had graduated from chiropractic school in 91. This thing got built in 2000, so I had little kids.
Yep.
And for me, when I was growing up, especially in the winter, there was a thing called Celebrity Sports Center that was here down in Colorado.
I remember Celebrity.
And it had games and pools.
Those huge slides.
Huge. It was amazing.
Every birthday party was at Celebrity.
Every time I went there, I felt like I was going to Disneyland. You know, because again, we came from a little house and, whatever. And that's the feeling that I got when going to the rec center. Is, I grew up then in high school going to Green Mountain Rec Center. We would play basketball up there and, we would lift weights or whatever. And so taking my kids into Apex was very cool because they could have that same experience in a cold winter snowy night of being in a pool with water coming around and they're nice and warm and safe and enjoying the heck out of things. It really made impact on me and on them. I imagine you guys hear lots of stories like that, right? Where you're connecting these people to an experience that they otherwise wouldn't or couldn't get.
Yeah. So it's one of the cooler things about the job is that when you walk in the building, like everybody's happy. Sometimes not the pickleball players, but everybody's happy. And it's so right when you walk in the building is where the indoor playground is, and kids are just like screaming for joy, and like everyone comes in with all their like towels and all the stuff to go swimming, and it's just like it's a big day for them. And so we love seeing that working there. It's one of the perks of working there is like if you are having a bad day, you can just go out of the office and walk around and everyone's having a good time and everyone's really enjoying themselves. So we love seeing that. I love hearing the stories, and Monica, who does our social media and does like a lot of our content, has started to collect a lot of stories. So if anyone out there has a story for us, let us know. But we love hearing like, I grew up coming here and now I'm bringing my kids here. We hear all the time. We love when our staff, so some of our staff, I'm considered a newbie and I've been there for 7 years. Some of our staff started as lifeguards and are now in leadership positions in our organization.
How big is the organization?
We have 96 full-time employees.
Wow.
And then we have, it's hard to say how many, we have like 700 some odd employees with both part-time and seasonal. But people, so I have to make a plug. Parks and Recreation is a career. It's a legitimate career. It's such a wonderful job. There's something for everyone. Like if you are lost and are looking for direction, like you should check out Apex. We are always hiring, and it is such a good, it's such an amazing career. But you can really grow even if you start with us as a teenager. Nice. So we hear all the time people who started as lifeguards and are now, in leadership positions. We have a lot of kids who went through our camp system. So we offer licensed day camps. So they were camp kids, then they were teen counselors, and now they're working for us. So they've like grown up at Apex, which is really neat. One of the most fun perks of working there is that we're very family oriented. So like my kids walk in like they own the place. Like we call them Apex Minis, and like our kids are all over the place. We're always taking the programming. Like my kids grew up, playing dinky dunkers and t-ball and all the stuff. So that's like the greatest joy of working there is just seeing all of that. And then you see them grow up. Yeah. And we have an indoor track at the Apex Center, and the administrative office is right by the entrance of the track. So we have regulars. Every morning they come and they walk and they're like, good morning. And you stop and they want to like, how are the kids? Like what's going, how did that budget meeting go? Like, and you're like, wait a minute. Like, what budget meeting? You're like a customer. I missed that one. Like it's so cool because we get to know them, and they're, we get worried if they don't come in. We call their family to make sure everything's okay. Wow. And so that is the community that,
is that like a Silver Sneakers program kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of the people that walk in the morning are Silver Sneakers. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
But anyone
cool.
can come. Yeah.
So now let's tie that into the people that you mentioned earlier. Like we have these nice stable homes and families and people that are coming to use the facilities in a traditional way, right? And they're building community and tribe. What about those folks who? How does Apex or any community center, for that matter, go out and get these kids or these families that are at risk or that are underprivileged and bring them in the community? Because obviously in 140,000 people, not everyone's doing great. Yeah. And so how does that work with the connection to the people who now can use this either as an escape, as an inspiration to do things in their lives, or basically as a safe place? Yeah.
So several things. So first and foremost, all of our programmers, we call them coordinators. So all of our coordinators, anyone that comes to them and inquires about a program and mentions that they can't afford it or they need some support, they immediately get sent to me, and I'm who manage the scholarship fund. So the folks on our staff who are like front line, they know that it exists. We also have really great partnerships with the local schools because we are a childcare provider. We know some of the kids that are having a hard time or on free and reduced lunch or things like that either are in our program as from a camp perspective, or we're working with the school around childcare and things like that. So a lot of referrals come to us through the schools or through folks who are connected to that work, and they know that they can come to us. We also have a really good relationship with the county. And so anytime the county has a foster family or families that are just kind of struggling or anything like that, they come to us and say, I have this family and they really want to get their kid involved in soccer. I'm like, done, we'll sign them up. Like, that's not hard for us. And it's like, it's not a tedious process. It's super easy. So it's all through word of mouth from other parents or partnerships that we have in the community, either at the county or at the school district level, is really where we see those folks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And as a community services director, you have to have, I'm sure, relationships in lots of these different areas. Like I could see the, and I don't know if this is the case, but I could see the Arvada Police and Fire being deeply involved with you guys. And that way, then now we're building a connection between the community and the public servants in a fun, relaxed way. And you see these guys training and gals training, and then maybe you do things together. Is that a part of the community system?
Yeah. So I have to brag on Arvada a little bit because I don't know any different. It's like where I've lived my whole life. But I do think it's a really unique community. So we're really involved with the Arvada Chamber of Commerce. They're amazing. They do a lot of work. And within that system, it actually is a product, unfortunately, because of COVID, we brought together a coalition of groups that were serving folks in Arvada. It's Apex, it's the Chamber, it's our Economic Development Association, it's the police, it's Arvada Center's our Arts and Humanities Center. Like, name it, if it's happening in Arvada, we all came together to the table. We started meeting daily and weekly throughout COVID to just get on the same page about what was happening in our community around COVID and resources that existed. We had an entire like PPE place that we could all, we just came together and made it work, and it was amazing. And so through that coalition, it's called the Arvada Resiliency Task Force. We work really closely with those service providers. So we're real good friends with the police department otherwise. And the fire department is also a special district in Arvada. So we work really closely with them because we have a lot of similar situations that happen because we're a special district. So yeah, it's just these intertwining of relationships because of work that we've been doing, but also just now we have the relationships. So I know who to pick up and call if we need something and vice versa. And that's how Arvada works, is that we're a family and we are interconnected in ways that you would never. And then of course add in the personal aspect of it. Like, oh, so-and-so went to high school with my dad and like grew up with my brother, and oh, I played soccer with you, and oh, like so-and-so knew you because somebody's like, happens every day.
That's so good.
It's so
what
fun.
A great thing.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really cool.
Let's rewind the clock for a minute and talk about COVID. I know there was a buddy of mine runs a similar organization, not near as big, but far more of a after school rec program kind of thing in another state in North Carolina. And what happened in COVID was when the schools were closed and the kids were learning at home, a lot of them were failing. They just weren't equipped to do well. Even if they got the equipment, the mentality of the parents not being teachers and the kids not having to be full-time students and all this create issues. So they opened their stuff up, and then they had the kids there learning, doing their videos with their classes, and then they had teachers in the rooms that were actually helping. What part did you, besides what you've already explained, what part did you guys as a community center, Apex, what did you do for that? And then now that parlay that into part two of the question, if an emergency happens, a fire, a flood, something weird happens in Arvada, what role does a place like Apex play?
So first and foremost, we were doing similar things that your friend was doing in North Carolina. We never stopped providing services during COVID. We worked within the limits and the restrictions that the health department had, but we were considered a first responder child care facility.
Wow.
So we continue to provide childcare for first responders, and we ran camp all summer during COVID, which was really cool. Like basically,
they couldn't wait to get there. I'll bet.
Yes.
I bet people couldn't wait to get there.
And they were their own pod. So because the Apex Center wasn't open to the gym and the ice arena and all that, we did run the ice arena, but we were able to turn the entire building into a childcare facility, which was also very cool to see. It was really neat. So as restrictions lessened, we were able to transition from being a childcare provider with summer camp into the school year when the schools were still closed. We did a similar thing. So our camp staff took over facilitating remote schooling. So it was really cool. We turned our gyms into classrooms, and we had spread out tables, and our camp staff took a team of kids, like, 8 to 10 kids, and they were facilitating online schooling.
What kind of feedback did you get from parents and teachers and even students? Were they very thankful and grateful for that kind of thing?
Well, they didn't have a choice. They had nowhere else to. There was a group of parents who was still going to work and weren't at home and weren't doing any remote work. So we were their place to take kids, which was amazing. And we actually, as staff, were able to bring our kids to work with us. So so my kids actually went through the program. It was awesome. And I felt bad. I was like, am I a bad mom? But it was actually more consistent at the time, his name is Hayden. If Hayden sees this, I adore Hayden. He's one of our camp counselors, and he was amazing. My kids adored Hayden, but Hayden was doing a better job than I would have done, because you're not fighting with them. They're not stuck in their room. They're communicating with the teacher more than I was. Like, it was like a whole thing. And every day we got a report of like what they worked on and how it was. And it was so cool, the way that we were able to pivot and just be so flexible and continue to provide the service to our community. So again, it's just one of those things, like, our kids will remember like going to school at Apex.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really neat.
And then what about now, fast forward, if there's a tornado or a flood or a fire, what role should a community center play, a rec center like that? Yeah,
so we have a newer position. I hate calling him new anymore because he's not new, but we created a new position during COVID, the emergency services manager. And we have a rock star. His name is Rick. He's a rock star on our staff, and he manages all of like our safety and emergency services for the entire district. He has created really good relationships, building on our relationships with the city and their emergency services manager, and then in the county. So we do work closely with all of them and now I can't remember there's a group, they have a group name, and it's
probably an acronym
it's an acronym of some sort that I can't remember. Yes. Yeah. And so they have a plan in the event of an emergency. If something like that had happened in Louisville and Superior had happened in Arvada, we have a plan. Like, we are the shelter. We have an agreement with Red Cross. So we are prepared in infrastructure-wise as a city and partnerships to provide emergency services in the event of a tragic anything.
So cool.
Yeah.
What role do volunteers play in an organization like yours?
Yeah, so we love volunteers. We'd take more of them if anyone is interested.
Yeah, what does that look like?
So we have lots of opportunities. So first and foremost, we have a community recreation center. It's near 68th and Wadsworth, and it's traditionally been our active adult center. We don't call them seniors. They're active adults.
And silver sneakers.
It's traditionally been that programming. We're trying to expand it to be more multi-generational, but a lot of the work that's done at CRC is done through volunteers. They have a senior council. They all work very closely together. It's very neat to see them all. Talk about community. They've created a community in that building that's just second to none. It's amazing. Wow. We also have a ton of volunteer opportunities around our events. So we offer once or twice a month, we're doing larger community events, and we can always use volunteers to help us with triathlons and, Easter egg hunts and things like that. So anytime we have a major event, we always need help from the community to help with those kinds of volunteers. And then beyond that, we also offer opportunities in our youth sports. So if you want to be a volunteer coach, if you want to referee, if you want to do any of those things, we always have volunteer opportunities around those sort of situations. Mm-hmm. Mostly those are parents of kids who are playing, but we're open to all sorts of volunteer opportunities.
I heard there was a shortage of refs in the end kind of post-COVID era. Like, there was in a lot of the districts, they couldn't. And these were paid refs.
Yeah.
They couldn't get enough refs, so they were canceling games,
Yeah.
whether it be football games or basketball games, volleyball games. Have you seen some of that ease in your guys' world where the people that you need, whether it's volunteer or paid, are they coming back to the workforce? Because I know that we're looking for people,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's not easy to find them, even though
Yeah.
the positions are open.
Yeah, so we are hiring. If anyone's interested, we always have mostly part-time, but we do occasionally have full-time positions open. So again, if you are looking to just have a part-time job for some extra money or looking to get into Parks and Recreation as a career, please come and find us because we need you. We are less worried about referees and coaches as we are about lifeguards. So there is a national lifeguard shortage.
A national lifeguard shortage. Can I tell you a lifeguard story?
Yes, please.
Okay, so here's the
Wait,
deal.
is it a good one? Will it encourage people to become a lifeguard?
No, but it might entertain them.
Okay, fair.
So
let's do it.
I'm in high school, getting
Okay.
ready to go to college, and my buddy is a lifeguard. Now, we hung out, we did everything together, everything. And he's ripped, he's tan, he's got the hair, and he's got the girls because of the
heck yeah.
lifeguard, right?
Heck yeah.
So I'm like,
it's like Baywatch.
yeah, Baywatch
Yes.
in Colorado. It's altitude Baywatch.
Yes.
And I said, his name was Toby. And I said, Tobe, I want what you got, man. I want a piece of that action. I want to have the tan and the girls at the base of the chair.
Like
and
the
whole
slow
thing.
motion?
The slow motion, yeah, with my
Yeah.
flat top crew cut, it's all going to be good. And he goes, okay, you just got to pass this WSI test,
yeah.
right? Well, I was going to my freshman year of college at CSU. And so I'm like,
you went to CSU?
I went to CSU.
Oh, I thought we were going to be friends.
Oh, that hurts me, but we'll get into that later.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, I'm at CSU, and I decide, okay, I got to take this class so that next summer I can be a lifeguard. And so the lady that's instructing gets us into the pool, and she goes, all right, 12-minute swim, go. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, 12 minutes, so easy.
Yeah. Well, until it wasn't. So I work my way through the 12 minutes, and I played sports through high school, thought I was pretty athletic and the whole thing, and I'd swam 2 times before the class, right? Like prepping.
Yeah, you practiced.
I got
twice.
2 swims in.
Yeah.
And so I get out of the pool, and I'll never forget it. The teacher looks down at me, and she says, we got to move you to aquatic conditioning. So I got sent to remedial swimming in my freshman year of college because I couldn't handle what it was. So my lifeguard dreams were shattered right on the spot. So I would encourage anyone, if you're going to be a lifeguard, prep a little bit for it. You don't just get to get up on that stand with, no cred. You got to
we have
earn
training. We have training opportunities available, and we'll pay for your training.
Mine would be like an 8-month training to get into that kind of shape. Anyway, no, that was really cool. I enjoyed that experience. But to know that you guys are looking to grow your presence is so good. What's the vision for what you guys are creating? Do you have something where you're seeing it going now, where you want to incorporate something different, unique, and new? Or is it, hey, we just want to build our roots deep in what we're currently doing?
Yeah, we actually just finished a strategic planning process over the last few years. It was interrupted, obviously, by COVID, but I was like, by God, we're gonna finish this project. It's like, I will not sleep until we finish this. But we are tying a bow on it as we speak, and we'll be announcing towards the end of the month the results of the planning process. But we did, a survey, statistically valid survey to our community. We did online surveys. We had open houses. We did stakeholder interviews, all of the things to see what people in our community really needed. And what we heard by and large was that they want us to keep going with what we are currently doing and take care of what we currently have and what we're currently providing and not expand. So we are ready to invest heavily in our current infrastructure and what we're currently doing and expand programming offerings to our community because they seem to like what we are doing and they don't need new, they just want more.
Yeah.
So we have our executive director is amazing. His name is Jeff Glenn. He is also our Vada native, Pomona guy. He played football. Yeah, he's wonderful. Talk about people who everyone's like, oh yeah, I know so-and-so. And he has a brother that also played sports in Arvada, which is funny. And they look alike, which is funny. So everyone's always like, oh yeah, the Glens. But so his vision, and he's new to he's not new. He's been there for a year. He was on our board for 12 years. So he was a board member for 12 years. And then a couple years after his board term ended, we had the opening for an executive director and he jumped at the opportunity. And we're so grateful he's there leading us. But his vision really is if we have a waiting list, like we're not serving our community. Like we can't celebrate, like that's not a success for us if we have a waiting list. If we have a waiting list, we need to provide more programming. So we've been tasked with the results from the survey in the community and Jeff's vision to just try and do more because our community is turning to us right now and they want the activities.
Wow.
So it's been fun because it's like, I always tell my team, like, throw it at the wall. If it sticks, let's try it. Like, I'm open to any ideas. Like, you have a crazy idea. Like, we want to start doing indoor cornhole. Like, let's do it. Like, anything that we can do creatively to provide for our community, they might not even know that they want it. And then if we provide it, I always say, if you build it, they will come.
So good.
Yeah.
How are you guys funded? Obviously, you have probably some memberships and you have drop-in fees, but this is also it's supported by outside money, right?
Yeah, so we're considered quasi-governmental. We're a special district in the state of Colorado. It's a special government entity. So we're not the city, we're not the county, but we are in part funded by property taxes from the residents in the Apex district. So we say our budget's about 50-50. We're 50% property tax and tax funded and 50% user fees, whether it be drop-in program fees, passes. It's a membership, but it's a pass. So we have a very diverse budget, and we don't rely on one more than the other.
And do you look for, I know you talked earlier about advertising opportunity and partnering with local businesses to help, just support both the local business by exposure and what you guys are doing in the vision. Do you also have donations and that kind of thing? Is that a part of what you guys do or not so much?
We don't have donations per se. We do have a foundation. The Apex Foundation is its own 501c3. It's a separate entity from us, and they do raise money to support programming at Apex, which is really cool. They've been around. They're celebrating their 50th year this year. They're amazing. They're so sweet. And they run events that raise money for special projects that we're doing. So we actually just recently went through it's not a grant process, but our grant process, for the lack of a better term, with them and programmers, staff. It's a cool staff development opportunity, professional development opportunity. They present projects that they need support on from the foundation. Then the foundation can decide from the pot of money that they raised that year what they want to support. So that's really cool because it's things that didn't fit in the budget that were kind of like extras or add-ons that then they can now have access to, which is really neat. So I think last year they raised almost $50,000 for the year through their. So if someone came to us, this is a long story longer. If someone came to us and wanted to donate money, we'd actually turn them to the foundation, which is doing incredible work. And they, we are very we work very closely with them and support their work. So if it was a donation, I would direct them to the foundation. But for businesses who are looking to not only get more involved in their community, but for advertising opportunities, we offer a ton of advertising opportunities, and that 100% funds our scholarship. It doesn't go anywhere other than the scholarship fund. So we have dasher boards on our ice arenas, dasher boards. We have 2 indoor soccer fields that have dasher boards. We have banners in our gyms. We have TV screens in all of our facilities that can run ads. We have, again, if
just a whole bunch
you tell
of
me
stuff.
what you need and we'll make it happen.
Man, that's cool.
So we have a whole menu if anyone's interested in supporting both the Community Access Fund, but also getting some advertising out of it. It's a cool program.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something too that was really, really good. As I was thinking about, you were talking about, we have these people who were camp kids that went to this, that went to that, and now work with us. Talk to me about the concept of mentorship. What is it, an active concept that you guys try to take and apply, or is it just a natural, it's a gravitational thing towards mentorship? What is it conscious in the culture and the ethos of what you do? Is this mentorship and go to the next one and then this one, teach one and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm gonna answer 2 different ways, both internally and externally. Internally, we were incredibly blessed to have, so Lori Dannemiller was our executive director prior to Jeff Glenn, and she was with us about 6 years and tragically passed away at the beginning of last year, and that's why we were looking. So she was amazing, and she left a huge footprint on the professional development aspect of internally how our work is done. So, and Jeff loved that vision and is continuing it. So we invest heavily in staff training and staff professional development opportunities. Some of that is through mentorship of our staff and our younger staff that has come on, or within our team structure. We're very team oriented, but we also offer opportunities to go train, to go to conferences. We had, I think, the most, the Colorado Park and Recreation Associations are like statewide coalition of all parks and rec. And we, I think, took the most staff to the conference last year.
Wow.
We were like, it was like, everyone's like, Apex is coming, Apex is here. I think we had about 18 of us went up. Some of us spoke and did some sessions, and others just attended. So we offered those opportunities to our staff. And through that, you just get to know each other. And the folks that have been around since they were lifeguards when they were 15, or new folks like me, like, we do offer that mentorship and professional development just as part of our, it's just the fabric of it. It's not a special thing. It's just the vibe that we have.
You do. It's your DNA.
It's what we do. It's what we do. And it's always been like that because that's how Lori started it. I would say externally, we are also offering that because we have opportunities to continue the life cycle of recreation through our programming. So if you're a camp kid, or if you attend our preschool, but then start doing soccer, and then, you know, want to then take ice skating, and then you grow into like doing more gymnastics or whatever, like the life cycle of activities is from, you know, for lack of a better term, cradle to casket.
Yeah.
Like, we offer anything from 0 to 99. Whatever you need, we're there, and it's an entire life cycle of activity. Like, there's no gap in the age that we provide services to. That being said, through our camp system, if you are a camp kid or a preschool kid and you kind of grow up, you do have an opportunity, that weird space between being a camp kid and being old enough to work for us. We do have a leadership and training program, and it's teaching, they're volunteer camp counselors, basically. So they work with our certified camp counselors to run our camp, and it's such a good opportunity for them to learn what it would be like to have a job, and to mentor the younger kids, and kind of just be an example of someone who's grown up in the process. We also have a youth commission, which you apply for and you can be part of, and it's mostly high school kids, and they can just be the youth voice within our structure of, you know, what they need, or what kids needs these days, and that sort of thing. So we do really rely heavily on youth and their voice and what they need and what works for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation, because I feel your passion and your energy and enthusiasm. And I know that it comes across whether someone's listening or watching. I want to ask you one final question. It's a personal question.
Yes.
And it is this. Is there one piece of advice that you've been given or that you've come across to this point in your life that has really formed the foundation of how you act, who you are, how to be, anything like that you would be willing to share with me and with our audience?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a piece of advice, but I would say that I have been blessed with people who have been leaders of mine who have let me be myself. I sometimes can be a lot. I know that's shocking for people, but I'm loud and I'm like laid back, and I wear yoga pants to work every day, and like
just full of awesomeness.
Yeah, that's who I am. Like, I don't apologize for it. So if I could give anyone advice, and I think that I have gotten this unspoken advice from leaders of mine growing up and in my professional career, of if you can't be yourself, then that's not where you should be, and that's not who you should be reporting to, and that's not who you should be following. You need to not only be yourself, but then find a leader who lets you be yourself. Wow. And I think that's a huge piece. And we joke at work, we call it the journey, because like everyone needs to take care of themselves and like listen to the podcasts that make them think and make them reflect, and like go to therapy if that's what you need, and like find your tribe. And like, I have a group of girlfriends that are my ride or dies, that have been my ride or dies since I was 10 years old, and I couldn't do life without that, you know. And I have my kids and my family and all the things, but so we joke that it's a journey, but it's also a vibe. Like, set the tone, like be a vibe, and like just be yourself, and like let your own thing, you know, just permeate your world. Because if you are hiding and shrinking, you're never going to be happy.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you
so-
for sharing
No, thank
that.
you. This is so fun.
This was great.
This was great.
So,
I was like, it's already been time. Like,
yeah,
let's keep talking.
Oh, we could do this for
Yeah.
hours. But you have been a fantastic guest. I hope if anyone's watching or listening that if this has moved you to either A, get involved in your community in some way, B, if you live in Arvada, come check
come
out
see us.
Apex and do all the great things. C, look for opportunities to make a difference. Because as you can tell with everything that we've talked about and everything that Katie's doing, you and all the Apex team are making a huge difference. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
And until next time, remember, everything you do, you can make a difference.